So I'm back to do another series for you guys on this channel, and this series is going to be all about reparenting. So reparenting is a process that I never learned even when I was a psychology major in school, but I find this process to be so liberating and so healing, and I think it's an essential for anybody who is working on themselves. So we're going to kick off this series today by explaining to you what reparenting is and giving you some pointers on how to start doing it yourself. So I'm really excited to bring this series to you, and let's get right into it. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a spiritual business and life coach, and you have found my YouTube channel where I combine the two things that I love the most in the world, which is personal development and manifestation. So I'm going to give you tools on this channel to help you create your dream life, and if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. So as I said at the top of the video, today we are going to talk about reparenting, and like I said at the top of the video, this is an important concept that has really shifted a bunch of things for me, but this is not something that I had even heard of when I was getting my degree in psychology. So I find it really interesting the way that I learned about psychology. I learned about brain structure, and I learned about different people who had done different kinds of therapy and that kind of thing, but I didn't really learn about the practical tools that really made a difference in somebody's life. And that is just one of the reasons why I am so passionate about life coaching today, because life coaching is really just a collection of tools to really help you apply these bigger concepts and really make them work for you in your life. Okay, so what is reparenting? Reparenting is basically just a process of going into our past and healing any lingering issues that we may have from our childhood. And I just said issues we may have, but actually we all have issues from our childhood. No matter how great your parents were, no matter how much they loved you, it was just impossible for them to love you 100% the way that you needed to be loved 100% of the time. So we are imperfect humans being raised by other imperfect humans, and that means at some point in time our needs were not met. So this is part of what I call small t trauma. So when we think of somebody who had a traumatic event in their past, we think of big things like experiencing maybe somebody close to you dying or something like that. But in fact, we actually all experience trauma during our childhood period. And even though it might not be big, some of these issues from our childhood can play over and over and over again throughout the rest of our life unless we do the work to go in and heal them and treat them. Okay, so I'm talking about issues from your childhood where maybe you felt shame about something, or maybe you felt abandoned by maybe a parent, maybe you felt rejected. Things like this can create a very big wound inside of us that was never actually healed. Like that is why actually when you are acting out your adult relationships, that's why you actually can be so quick to overreact in some situations. Usually when it's a situation like that, it's not anything to do with the actual current situation. It's something to do with your childhood issues. So we're coming back, we're triggered immediately going back into feeling like we're 5 years old and we're feeling rejected, unloved, abandoned, whatever it is. And that can make us act a little bit weird and a little bit out of the ordinary in our current day life. So it is important for you to understand what these issues are in yourself so that you can work on healing them. And it is also a great thing for your relationships, especially your intimate relationships, because like I just pointed out, we will tend to play these things out over and over and over again unless we do the work to go in and heal them. And like I just said, this is very often the culprit for if you've ever been in a situation where somebody does something to you and you have a big over-the-top reaction and you're not really sure why or where that energy came from. That is usually because you are tripping into the past, like you are actually tripping into your little boy, little girl version of you, and they are having a huge reaction to try to protect you in the current situation, which obviously doesn't work and obviously isn't always a logical or an appropriate response in the current moment. Okay, with that all being said, I know when I start to talk about reparenting, it kind of maybe sounds like I'm pointing the finger of blame at your parents and I'm saying that your parents did something wrong. So I just want to reiterate this again. Your parents will have done something at some point in time, no matter how much they loved you and no matter how hard they tried at being a parent We are imperfect. Our parents are imperfect. This is not about placing the blame on them. It is just understanding that there's absolutely no way a single human can be 100% emotionally there for another human at all times. We always will feel this way, and these wounds when we are children are really deep and really dark because this is when we're kind of figuring that out for the first time. But you do not have to let this stuff haunt you. You can go back in and heal these wounds, and in fact, I really suggest that you do. And there are all kinds of different processes that will help you do this. But today I just wanted to give you this little quick video, this quick little overview, and I'm going to leave you with some questions to help you sort of get the ball rolling. So if reparenting work sounds like something that you think you need to do, I would really suggest seeking out a class, seeking out a coach like me, seeking out a therapist, seeking out somebody that can help you work your way through it. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming to do on our own. However, of course, there are books out there. I'm sure there are self-paced online courses that can do it for you. But I just really want you to be aware that this is something that needs to be worked on. And aware that this is something that can have a huge impact on your life, because basically you are freeing yourself from this stuff. And before we get into the actual meat of it, which is the questions I'm going to give you to help you start this process yourself, I just wanted to give you one more reframe to help you understand the importance of why I believe reparenting is so crucial for everybody. So in my perspective, and this is something I just recently thought about, but this is one of the ways that we can start to clear intergenerational karma, okay? So the things that happened to you with your parents that maybe weren't that great, those were probably not their conscious actions. Like, we all fall back into our subconscious, we fall into our unconscious behaviors, and that is usually where the problems come from, right? Because we're not operating from our all sunshine and rainbows conscious brain, we're operating from our deep, dark subconscious mind. So because your parents were operating on their subconscious mind at some point with you as a child, that is probably when these situations have arisen. So basically what's happening is their stuff that they learned when they were children, they are now sort of imparting it onto you. So we're kind of creating this kind of vicious cycle where we are all triggered and we all feel abandoned in our childhood, and then yet we are still like giving that to somebody else. And I'm not saying that if you can do reparenting work, you're going to be a perfect parent, but this is a way that you can stop the pain process from following you around your whole entire life. It's a way for you to stop running into the same patterns over and over and over again, which is what so many of us do. And so many of us feel frustrated by that because we can't figure out why. So I'm telling you today, this is a very good place for you to look. This is a very good place for you to begin. This is a great way for you to start to clear that intergenerational karma and to give yourself the blank slate that you truly deserve while you walk here on planet Earth. Okay, so with that all being said, let's dive into it. I'm going to give you a series of questions for you to start thinking about. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to make some more videos on some trigger issues that you probably have encountered. The things that I've come up with are a list of things that I've experienced that I believe other people have experienced as well. So I'm going to talk about them, but I would love to hear if you guys have any questions or comments for me. If there's anything that you would like me to address in this series, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion and your ideas. Okay, so let's get into it now. So the first question that I want you to start to ask yourself, and this is the real genesis of the whole thing: what did I not receive from my parents? Did I not receive an action, or maybe I really wanted them to say something to me, but what did I not receive? Or maybe there's a specific moment in time you can think of really wanting your mom or your dad to do something for you and having them not do it. So I want you to think about those issues right now, and maybe you're gonna come up with a whole bunch. That's okay, write them down, keep a record of them. Let's not try to clear them all at once though. Like, if you can think of something to work through in this exercise, then that is the perfect place to start, with just one thing to think about. Otherwise, it can get a little bit too overwhelming if we start to get into the whole multitude of potential problems that might be lurking there. Okay, the second question I want you to ask yourself about this specific instance or this specific thing that you did not receive in whatever way that was: what did this experience tell me or teach me? What did this experience teach me? So maybe your parent told you no about something, or forgot to do something for you, or didn't say I love you at a moment when you really needed to hear it. All of those things are in the moment maybe not such a big deal, but they actually have a deeper meaning, right? So when our parents tell us no about something, in some ways, they are telling us that we are not worthy of something. For example, that's not a blanket statement, but that could be true. So I want you to now think about what the lesson was that you got from this. And this is probably why it feels so painful for you, right? So the stories that we create about the thing that happened to us, that is where our pain comes from. So it's really important for you to understand what you made this instance mean. And yes, you were a child, so of course these things are not always logical, they're not always rational, but this is what you came up with, this is what you landed on. So it is important to figure out what that is. The third question I want you to ask yourself is, do I really agree with this? Do I agree with this lesson that I learned? Do I agree with this thought or this feeling that came up? Do I agree with what I thought my parents were saying in this moment? So this is really important now to start to separate what our parents' actions were with what we are and what we want, right? So even though you picked up something during your childhood, that doesn't mean that you have to go around believing it for the rest of your life. So for an example of that would be, a child that was maybe raised in a home that had a lot of racial prejudice. Like, you don't necessarily have to take that with you for the rest of your life. You can make a conscious choice in time to let those things go, even though at a certain point in time they were definitely imprinted on you as a child, right? So what did you get the meaning to be from the situation that you're thinking of right now? And do you agree with that? Do you think this is right? Do you think this is true? Do you think this is accurate? So we're going to carry on in the next question, which is, what do I want to believe? So if your parent did something and your core message at the end of that was, I'm unlovable, I want you to now ask yourself, do I really think I'm unlovable? Do I think that this situation that happened to me when I was a child, do I really believe that that makes me unlovable? Do I want to believe that that makes me unlovable? Do I want to believe that the sole opinion of one person's actions in one moment can define whether or not I am lovable? So that's just an example there. Of course, it'll be a little bit different depending on what your circumstance was and what your lesson was. But what I really want you to just, again, to understand here is that you have the power to start writing your story. You have the power to start believing in what you want to believe. And these subconscious beliefs might be tricky because you've been running around believing them for so long that you believe that they're fact. You believe that they are true. But if you can just take a little step back and look at the logic of the situation, look at the actual facts of the situation, and look at the story and the meaning that you have projected on the situation, then you can understand that you also have the choice to believe something else, that you can choose to see something else in the world no matter what happened to you. So of course we can't go back and change what happened, but we can start to look for evidence of other things. We can start to believe in other stories. That's a little bit of a second level reparenting technique, but I'm going to finish off this series by giving you the last question today, which is, how can the me of today extend love to the me of that moment? How can I start to love myself, that little girl version, that little boy version of me, the me of today? How can I tell them what they need to hear? How can I give them the attention they wanted? What can I do for them to make them feel better? So a really great way to work your way through this is through a meditation. I actually have a meditation for this purpose in my Mindset Alignment School. But you can probably look around online and find something similar if you're interested. But basically, I want you to see a vision of yourself the way you are now. And I want you to see this vision of this child version of you that was just, told no, told that they were unlovable, or whatever the situation was. And I want you to go over there in your mental scape, give them a hug, give them a kiss, tell them that you love them. Give them what you needed to receive. So you need to think about what you needed to receive, and then you have to think about visualizing going over there and doing that. Going over and giving your childhood self the exact thing that you felt you were missing. This sounds so simple, but it is so powerful, and we have the choice now as adults to go back and heal anything from our past. You do not have to walk around for the rest of your life feeling like that wounded little kid. You can give yourself the love. So you cannot sit around and wait for someone else to come in, or for that person or that parent to come in and do the thing that you wanted them to do. Because for one thing, times have changed. You can try to get somebody to do something in the current moment, but it's never going to go back and fix that thing in the past. The only thing that can go back and fix whatever happened in the past is you going in and loving on yourself. So I really hope that this introduction to reparenting was enlightening. I hope that you enjoyed this question and answer process, and I will be coming back, like I said, in the next couple of weeks with a few more sort of in-depth reparenting videos to kind of walk you through a specific instance. And like I said, I really hope the instances I'm choosing are going to be sort of universal so that we can all kind of learn and heal and grow from this experience. If you would like some help doing this, if you want to walk through it with a professional, then send me a message. I can do a one-on-one coaching call for you and we can go through this process together. I would love to be your guide on this healing journey. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, then give it a like. If you know a friend that could use this message, pass it along to them. If you want to watch more from me, you can hit my latest upload right here. And if you want to hang out for the long haul, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right here. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. So as always, just remember, get ready for the miracle. See you guys.